Hello, this is Jeremy Foltz with Red Stick Warrior TV, and I have the privilege of interviewing my great uncle, James Roberts, today. And Uncle Jimmy, thank you for letting us come out to your house and talk to you a little bit about kind of your history and how you grew up.
Well, you're welcome to, anytime if I can give you something.
Thanks. So I think what we want to do is just kind of, why don't you tell us a little bit about how you grew up, where you grew up, and then we'll kind of go from there.
Well, I grew up, like I talked about my grandma, when they lived in a log cabin over there on the other side. You know where the Smiths used to live over there? Well, theirs was right on this side of the creek, away from them. And that's where they lived, in a log cabin.
Is that like around the Carson?
Well, it's this way from Carson.
Okay.
It's about 2 miles this way, I think.
Okay. And that's where you grew up at?
Well, that's where I remember starting to grow up at.
Okay. So in the country?
Yeah. Then, when they moved back over here, my mother had me staying with some white people. She'd known them a long time. And that's where I started school with, when they had a schoolhouse underneath this hill called Pleasant Valley.
Okay.
Pleasant View, I mean.
Pleasant.
See what I started talking, I don't know what I'm going to say.
About what years was that? Do you remember?
Oh, that's back in, let's see now. Back in either 29 or 1930.
Okay. Who was president back then? Do you remember the presidency?
No, I don't.
Okay. And so then you ended up going to Haskell for school, right?
Yeah, well, I went to school down here. Then my mother took me over to stay with some of my cousins, so I went to Carson School. And that's where I finished 7th grade. Then I come back down to this school and finished 8th grade. Then after I got everything finished from my grade school, my mother got in touch with Haskell, and that's where she got me in for a freshman.
Okay.
So that's why I went all through high school.
Okay. Haskell in Kansas.
Yeah.
Haskell in Kansas,
Yeah.
right? Yeah.
Yeah, I used to go down to Lawrence quite a bit.
Okay.
Every Saturday, I think.
I won't ask you about what you did there.
Well, no, most of us, we was just going to the movies.
Oh, okay.
They had 2 movie buildings there. One on the south end and one on the north end.
Okay.
But I used to go down the north end most of the time.
What did it cost to get into the movies back then?
25 or 30 cents, I forget what it was.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Okay. So after Haskell, obviously I want to talk to you about your service. You're one of the oldest living or surviving servicemen in our Creek Nation right now. Tell us a little bit how you got involved with the service. How did you get recruited, or was it part of the draft? And
Well, when I finished high school at Haskell, I had to stay 1 more year because I was taking, what did they call it? Anyhow, it was something I could use, but I worked in the mechanic shop there and drove the vehicle when the children had to be taken to someplace.
okay.
I used to be a driver, one of the drivers. But during a week of my last year there, I was working in the mechanic shop. And that's that's what I wanted to do. So then, when I graduated from there, I got to come. Well, I had to go register down. You know, where they take you when you 18 or
Yeah.
17 or whatever it was. Anyhow, then after I had already registered. Then after I graduated, they let me go home for a week down when we lived down close to Wetumpka. Then after that week was over, I went back to high school, and they called us all down down that big place. I don't know what the gymnasium or something, I guess, down there. And they said, "Well, son, what kind of, what service do you think you'd like to be in?" I said, "Well, I'd kind of like to go to the Air Force." He kind of looked at me a while. He said, "Well, son, you look like you'd make a good sailor. So you go into the Navy." Then they shipped us to Kansas City. Then we got on trains and went to, I was thinking of it, I forget what place that anyhow, it was up there close to Washington. Yeah, it was by big lake. I forget what it was called. Anyhow, that's where I took my boat training, and then after we got through training, they sent us down to Mare Island, there in California. And we stayed there till I guess they was getting the submarine ready. But yeah, that's what they're doing. And we had to go through some training through that big tower.
Mm-hmm.
We had to be able to hold our breath and climb up the top of that.
That's on the submarine.
No, on the land.
Oh.
There on the base.
Oh, okay.
That's a training base where they took us this time at Hawaii,
Oh,
Honolulu. Okay. I forgot to tell you that. Yeah, they took us to Honolulu and put us in barracks. Then they had us doing this training and marching around all over the place.
Now, this was after Japan had bombed Pearl Harbor, right?
Yeah.
Okay.
Uh-huh.
And about what year was that? When you were out there?
I think it was around 43.
Okay.
I believe it was either 42 or 43.
And that's when you started your training to be a submarine operator.
Yeah, when we got to California.
Okay. You pretty much lived on the submarine for 2 years that entire time. What did you do on the submarine? I know it had to do with kind of navigating the submarine a little bit.
Mm-hmm. Well, while we was under the water, I had to be on these planes. And I was relieved about every hour, I think. And of a night, I had to be up on deck as a lookout. See if we could see any ships far off or anything, lights they may have on or something like that, you know.
So during the day, it's safe to say that you guys were submerged,
Yeah.
and at nighttime you guys came up and kind of did lookout and.
Yeah, we had to come up to charge our generators. Yeah, I mean our batteries.
Oh, okay.
See, we had those motors on there, and they got big generators, and that the battery room was about big as this, almost big as this living room.
Oh, okay.
Got all batteries sitting in there, all hooked together, and they had to charge those up every night. That's the reason they had to come up, and so we could run the engines and charge those batteries up.
And during that time, were you ever engaged in any kind of battle at all?
No, just one time. I think we was on top, and I don't know where it was at, but anyhow, it must have been pretty close to Japan's hometown, because there's a vehicle, I mean, whatever it was, over there shooting at us. And since my battle station was down on those plains, I was sitting down there, didn't know what to do. And after it's all over that night, some of those boys said that there was a shell just about 4 or 5 foot at the top of the deck just going by.
Wow.
Of course, they was firing back at them too.
Yeah.
We was going around in a circle. We wouldn't stand in one place all the time. And finally, they decided everything was over with, so we took off going south again. Or however, which way that was. But anyhow, we had another encounter somewhere, but I forget what it was now. But it didn't last long either.
Was there a lot of Indians or Native Americans that was fighting during that time?
Well, I think most of them was in the Army and the Marines.
Okay.
I never did see no bunch of Indians in the submarines or in the Navy or whatever they had, Air Force.
I think it's important to take a brief break at this point to give proper respect to the submarine Tarpon and her crew. In 1943, Tarpon conducted her 9th war patrol off the coast of Honshu from October 1st to November the 3rd. On the night of October 16th, she was patrolling the approaches to Yokohama when she sighted a ship, which she tentatively identified as a large auxiliary ship. The submarine tracked the target until 1:56 the next morning, when she attacked it with 4 torpedoes, which stopped it dead in the water. However, it soon got underway again and headed straight for Tarpon. The submarine submerged, went under the ship, and attacked the target from the other side with 3 more torpedoes, which produced 1 hit in the stern. The enemy still did not sink, so Tarpon fired again with the torpedo, which struck the target in the same place. The vessel exploded and disappeared. Post-war examination of enemy records revealed that the victim was the German raider Michael, which had been preying on Allied shipping in both the Atlantic and the Pacific Oceans. Michael was the only German raider sunk by a United States submarine in the Pacific Ocean.